Whew. Is anybody on here? Is anybody on here? Look, I just wanted to say something to you while I was thinking about it relative to relationships. There's some things that we got to understand about relationships, especially when I'm talking about relationships. I mean, engagements, things that relationships that we're expecting to turn into marriage. In my estimation, there are at least three fundamental sections to a marriage, or a couple that's engaged, contemplating marriage. You got to be concerned with, first of all, the romance. That's how you all connect in terms of your chemistry, your romantic chemistry. That's got to be present, and you got to work on it. You got to keep making certain that it is fed, that it is healthy, that it is ongoing. If you don't work on your romance, it's like termites in your relationship. It eats away beneath the surface, and by the time you realize it, things have collapsed. So you have the romantic part. That's words of affirmation, that's gifts, that's hugging, and just making the individual know that they hold an exclusive position in your life that nobody else holds, an intimate position in your life that nobody else holds. Then after you move away from the romance, you got to work on that, especially after you have kids and bills start piling up. Working on romance is a job. It really becomes a job, but it's a necessary job. Then after you move past the romance, then you have to concern yourself with the business of the relationship. Many people get married and they fail to understand that marriage is a merger. It's a business. A family is a corporation. You have to run it as such. If it's going to succeed, you have to take care of the business of the relationship. Hey, First Lady Crockett, awesome teaching. Pastor Hagan, love you, my sweet. So many people don't take care of the business. Don't know what your credit rating is. Nobody's paying bills. People don't want to go to work. That's the business of marriage, House falling apart. Nobody's tending to it. That's the business of marriage. And many marriages fail because nobody takes care of the business, and then the stress of not taking care of the business weighs on the romance. So now you have two pillars of the marriage that have fallen down because nobody was responsible enough to take care of the business. Then you have other people who take so much care of the business, they don't tend to the romance. You have to balance the entire thing out, because your marriage requires the romance, but it also requires the business. But then there's a third dimension that you have to work on that most people have never even thought about, and that's the companionship. That has nothing to do with the romance and the sex. It has nothing to do with the business, the bills, the money, the credit, the building of the empire. The companionship is the building of, it's really the intimacy part. Because a lot of times we lock intimacy down to sex, but really intimacy is about the companionship. It's where the two of you take the time to really know one another, to grow together, and to evolve together. So many marriages fail because people don't tend to the companionship. 10 years into the marriage deep, both of you all are different people, but you've not taken the time to really get to reintroduce yourselves, to grow together, to really know one another. There's no companionship. There's no conversation. There's no sharing of ideas. There's very little laughing and playing and talking together. It's all sex and money. And quite frankly, if that's the case, if your marriage is turned into nothing but sex and money, that's like a prostitution operation right there. You get the same thing in that. But a marriage has to be built on companionship. Why? Because when you get older, to the point where you don't have the energy to be as sexual, which I pray that day never comes, praise the Lord. But the reality is that we get older. What's going to hold that marriage together? Companionship. It's where you all develop the best friendship in the world, and you maintain it, where you don't even allow space for somebody else to become your best friend because your companionship with your spouse is so great. So, romance, business, companionship. You got to work on all three of them simultaneously. And if you do that, I believe that you'll have a great marriage. So you got to have somebody that you're really attracted to. You got to maintain that attraction. You got to stay up for one another. You got to take care of the business. Everybody got to go to work. Can't have no lazy people just laying down, bills not paid. We got to take care of the business of the family, but then we got to take care of the companionship. We got to grow together. So that's my little nugget for the middle of the day. Love y'all. Have a great one. I'm going to take care of some business.